Prayer with Great Expectations Realty, and today I am here once again with Kevin Sheilley. Thank you so much.
Of course, always.
For coming on here. Everybody loves the videos that you come on and do and tell us everything cool and new that's happening in Ocala. So hopefully you will explain to everyone who you are, what you do in case they're new to the channel, sure. And what's going on in Ocala, please.
Yeah, thank you, Andrea. Always good to be asked. So thank you for that. Again, my name is Kevin Sheilley, and I lead what's the Ocala Metro Chamber and Economic Partnership. It's a really long name. Here in town, it's known as the CEP. But for those of you from outside the area, we're the Chamber of Commerce and the Economic Development Organization for the Ocala Metro. And that's our community here of 400,000 people. We're charged with making sure this is a prosperous community. And so that means we're working to bring in new employers, help existing companies, help people start new businesses. Lots of little things we do in sub areas of that, but also to tell the story about why this is such a phenomenal place to call home and all the great things that are going on here.
Right. So, and that is honestly what I'm always excited about, because you give us the dirt, the information as much as you can about the new jobs that are coming to Ocala. And what's interesting is I've heard you mention all of, the millions of square feet. But the first video I did, it was like 3 to 5 million square feet of distribution centers and companies coming in. And then it was like 5 million-ish, 6 million-ish.
Yeah.
And now?
So we have, for those of you who are familiar with the term, we have 15 million square feet of industrial spec space that has begun construction or will soon begin construction. So what that means is these are developers, predominantly from outside the region or the state in our case, who have said, hey, we see a lot of opportunity in Ocala, and we know the businesses want existing buildings. So they're coming in and spending tens of millions of dollars, in fact, in several cases, hundreds of millions of dollars to build buildings that they're never going to work out of. They're simply building them believing they're going to find a tenant to either lease or buy that space.
And they are. There's no vacant buildings out there. They are leased pretty much as soon as they're done.
In fact, one of the things we're seeing on the smaller buildings, so we have buildings ranging in size from, I think the smallest spec building we have right now is 40,000 square foot.
Oh, yeah, tiny.
All the way up to 1.1 million. Yeah.
Wow.
And the buildings we have that are less than 100,000 are all getting leased. In some cases before, in fact, 3 new cases before they've ever even put a shovel on the ground. Those buildings are leased. But everything we have in that space is done as soon as it starts. We've got some things happening on some of the bigger spaces. And so it's really exciting. We're seeing different types of companies. Some are distribution, some are warehouse, a number of manufacturers. But again, all investing in this community, all creating jobs in this community, which creates more opportunities for the rest of us.
Absolutely. I think that was one of the things that we talked about, like the first time we sat down was, there's jobs coming in, and Ocala is growing. And I was like, yeah, okay, sure it is. But we've really seen it. I mean, it's going through a boom, really.
So can I share some stats about that?
Please,
yeah.
Please.
So, and I'll share one that's brand new. I haven't shared anywhere else yet. I just got it last night.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'll save that one for a moment. But so our area, we focus on the city of Ocala, and then the metropolitan area, as defined by the Department of Commerce, is really simple in our case. It's one county, it's Marion County. But when you look at that, and no one knows where the city limits begin and where they end. But so we're a community currently on the latest data, which is now 15 months old. We have 386,000 people. We are one of the fastest growing metropolitan areas in the country. We add about 192 people a week moving into our community.
Wow.
And so we'll hit 400,000 sometime next year. And so we had a lot of concern are these numbers going to continue? We're going to continue to see this kind of growth. The data I just got, so here you go, for January through June, so for the first 6 months of this year, one of the data metrics that are used is in ratio versus out ratio. So how many people are moving in versus moving out?
That's what I was just wondering. Yeah.
Ocala ranks #1 in the nation on our in-out ratio. Our in ratio is 5.24. So for every 1 person who moves out, we have 5.25 people who move in. Not only is that #1, it is more than double the #2 slot.
Wow.
And so we're continuing to see this move of people wanting to come here, wanting to be part of all the great things that we have going on here. You'll see behind us, it says Live Life Here. That's part of our marketing for people because we want people to live life here. This is the place, we believe, where you can do it all. You can have the job opportunities, you can have amazing health care, you can have a great quality of life. If you want to be at the ocean, you can go to the Gulf Coast in about 40 minutes. You can be at the Atlantic in an hour and a half. The only thing you really can't do here easily is go to the mountains.
No,
you're in middle Florida.
Yeah. Georgia.
Georgia. Gonna go North Georgia. But the great thing is we don't worry about hurricanes.
Right.
Because we're the safe spot. We're in the middle of the state, so those aren't issues for us. We've got the beautiful springs, the forest, and of course, horse capital of the world.
Absolutely. And I mean, the horse industry here in Ocala it's an industry.
Mm-hmm.
It is billions from what I understand.
So we conducted an economic impact analysis. It's a few years old now, before the World Equestrian Center opened. But at that point in time, that study found that the equine industry contributes $2.6 billion with the B dollars a year to the local economy. We have more horses than any other county in the U.S. In fact, more than the next two counties combined. And we have more variety of breeds found in one location than anywhere else on the globe. Thus, we're horse capital of the world.
Absolutely. And of course, there's always the contention that Kentucky is, and I beg to differ, it is not.
It is not.
We are the
that is both by statistics and now by court case.
Woo!
So they're actually
wow.
prohibited from saying it. It doesn't keep them from saying it.
Yeah.
Our good friends at Florida Thoroughbred Breeders and Owners Association get to send them a letter every so often saying cease and desist.
Oh my goodness.
We will allow them and agree that they are the thoroughbred capital, but they certainly do not have the variety of breeds. And,
I mean, there really is everything here. There's breeds that I've never even, like the Gypsy Gold and Vanner and stuff like that. I mean, beautiful, beautiful horses you can't really find anywhere.
I'm from Kentucky, so I thought I understood a little bit about horses. But when I moved here almost 10 years ago, I think I would have been challenged to come up with 6, maybe 7 breeds of horses, not 67, which is what we currently have in the market.
That is amazing. It really is.
There are times that someone will share what kind of breed they have, and I'm like, you're making that up. That's a real thing.
It's a real thing.
It is.
It's a real thing. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, just like going to some of the horse shows they have here, and they're so open. I mean, you can go and see a horse show for free for most of them.
Yes.
Going over to the World Equestrian Center, they've pretty much always got something going on. You can go over, you can watch a polo game. I mean, it's just crazy the amount of stuff that you can go and see in Ocala with the horses, and they're absolutely beautiful. They're absolutely gorgeous.
Everything from the little miniatures all the way up to our Clydesdales and our Welshires.
Yes, the big, huge, hooves that are like dinner plate size, and absolutely beautiful, beautiful horses. So but we do have a thriving healthcare. In fact, Denellen is getting a hospital, which I was pretty excited about. They did buy the land.
Yes, about the land. I think the initial plan is a freestanding ER. But we currently have 3 hospitals in the market. There's a 4th one currently under construction. HCA has 2 hospitals here, HCA Ocala and HCA West Marion, which are both constantly. We did a ribbon cutting for the start of the new tower at West Marion last week.
Wow.
We did a ribbon cutting at Ocala yesterday for their new their new neuro ICU. We've got some ribbon cuttings coming up with Advent, which has a hospital here, the largest hospital. And then UF Health is building a neighborhood hospital here. It'll be initially, I think it's a 3 stories to start, the ability to go to 5 stories. And so plus lots of freestanding ERs and clinics and outpatients and...
Well, because we have, not many people understand the size of Ocala. And when I say Ocala, I see it for them, really.
Absolutely.
Because when we think of Ocala, we think city of Ocala mostly, whereas most people think of Ocala and they're concerning the entire Ocala Metro or Marion County, which is almost the size of Connecticut. So it's a huge, huge area. So to have health care and hospitals available to such a large area, that's an intimidating thing to do.
And what I think is not only do we have these hospitals, but I think one of they're all extremely well recognized. One of the things I'm super proud of, and I wish they'd tell the story more, is that the HCA Ocala Hospital, which has a graduate medical education program, in other words, they have medical residents, they have over 160 there, was just named a top 10 teaching hospital.
That's amazing.
Think about it. So of all the hospitals in the country, this one was named a top 10. And so people know crazy. When you move someplace, you want to think, oh, but if I get sick, I'll have to go. I'm going to have to go over here. I'm going to have to drive there.
Yes, I'm going to go to Orlando or Tampa or Gainesville or something.
You're going to come here. And that means, in addition to not only amazing health care, but it also means all of those doctors and nurses and allied health professionals and all the things that go into running all these hospitals also live in our community, which just makes it an even better place to be.
I mean, the healthcare industry really has, it's just grown just to a crazy degree here. We have the Veterans Clinic. We're getting Shands is actually, once they get all of their easements figured out, they're building just off of I-75. So, I mean, and then, of course, all of the emergency rooms and stuff.
And just one you may not know about, of course, we have Encompass Health here, great employer. They're a rehab hospital. So if you have a stroke or you have to have a knee replacement or something, you go there. It's an 80-bed hospital. But Everest Rehab is building a hospital here as well.
I did not know that. See, I get all the good information when I come in here. So what about these companies? Going back to the beginning, sorry, I know I kind of jumped all over the place, but I'm just so excited to chat with you. Going back to the beginning, we have all of these companies that are leasing these massive, warehouses and distribution centers. Where are these people coming from? These companies, I should say, coming from? Why Ocala? Why not Lakeland or Tampa or something like that?
So, one of the things a national consultant told us in 2014 was that as Florida's population tipped over the 20 million mark, and today we're at 22.5 million people, but as we went over that mark, that the supply chain discussions and numbers changed, that it now became more efficient to serve Florida from Florida. That instead of serving us from Atlanta, which is what traditionally had happened, that companies would need to start setting up facilities in Florida. And we began seeing that literally as he told us, boom, it hit, and then we started seeing that. And then the pandemic hit. Yes. And one of the great things, of course, here in Florida is we kept working. People were able to stay at work and do all the way reopened, pretty quickly. But what that led to was an even bigger push about, hey, we need to strengthen our supply chain. We need to have more close distribution, but also more close manufacturing, more close the nearshoring and reshoring, even offices becoming part of this. So that as a place, we're one of only 4 metropolitan areas in the country that in 2020 during the pandemic added jobs. We had more people who had jobs here at the end of the year than the beginning. And we've just seen that continue. So for companies that really want to serve that 22.5 million people, I mean, it's pretty easy. Where do you want to be? Well, you want to be in the center. And that way you can reach, if you're trying to get to Pensacola or if you're trying to get to Key West, you want to be in the middle. Well, that's us. And so they don't have to worry again about hurricanes. That's not part of it. While we've got a little sand, our soils are much better. And this is a community because we were never the tourism place that the beaches were, right? And we don't have Mickey. No. We love him, but we don't have him.
Yeah, he's close by. He's a neighbor.
Nearby. We grew up with a more traditional economy, and so you had a lot of manufacturing here. You had a lot of different things, so that it made it really easy. Our utilities, our laws, our roads are all set up for industrial, so it really made it easy for us to expand into those areas.
Yeah, it really is amazing. I mean, you can see the building going on all over the place, but unfortunately, you did bring up something that I've heard a lot lately. Everybody's talking about the roads. Last time we talked, everybody was like, there's not enough houses, there's a major housing shortage, and we discussed that, and you're like, we are on this. We've got 12, 14 different projects going on. We've got this. Now they're all going, okay, enough with the houses. Now we need roads. Right. Roads take longer.
Roads take longer.
They do.
The way we fund roads in Florida is you got to build stuff to generate the revenue to go build the roads. So you can't wait to build these things until after you build the roads because that's how you fund the roads.
Right.
Now, the good thing is, and I think we get a little spoiled.
We
For
do.
those of us who've been here a little while, when we have folks who've moved here recently from Orlando, or they've come from Atlanta, as I mentioned earlier, other places, and people start talking about, oh, the traffic, they're a little confused.
They are.
They're like, sorry. So I get it.
California, they're like, no.
But, again, we all want to be able to move, right? We want to be efficient. We're not good at being patient. Let's just be honest. But, I think the good thing is we know that in the next year, the 44th, 49th Avenue Corridor project, huge major north-south thoroughfare to take traffic off I-75 and also to increase our own flexibility.
I live 4 blocks off of that. I'm very excited about it.
That the county piece is working on their I guess last major piece. Mm-hmm. The city's pieces are completely funded now, and I think they've actually been let out to bid.
That's awesome.
In fact, the city's calling it a fast start. They're going to try to build as fast as they can on their pieces. The 80th Avenue project is in large part funded. It's planned. It will also help on that north-south. Now, it'll take a while. I mean, it's right now a 10-year build. They're looking at some things to do to try to accelerate that. Right. But those things are coming. Again, we just need to be a little patient. Also, maybe a little bit more realistic about what is traffic, what isn't.
Yes. Well, I mean, I do have to say, 484 and 75, that can get congested in the morning. But people that live around there, they know what times it gets congested. They leave a little early, a little later.
And one of the challenges is because of the getting through the interstate there.
Yeah.
The state was supposed to start in June of 21 on a widening and rebuilding that. It got pushed back to June of 22, and now it's been pushed to January because, in this case, they can't get the asphalt.
What?
The state can't. Asphalt's one of the things now is you can't get asphalt. We have several projects all held up because they can't get asphalt, and so because the state can't get it either.
Wow. So that's
the things we're learning that were challenges.
I mean, we went through that with the housing. We couldn't get windows for a while. Everything in Texas was just no-go. We couldn't get wood from Canada. It was just, so now we can't get roads.
Can't get asphalt.
It's okay. We will get there. And that's what's going to happen. I was very excited to have an opportunity not long ago to do one of those flights with Ocala Aviation, Discovery flight. It was so great. It's like $100. I mean, it was like nothing. And you can go up and decide whether or not you want to learn how to fly. I obviously learned I did not want to. I am a passenger, 100% a passenger. I was like, oh, look at all, you want me to steer now? Okay. But the really cool thing was looking at Marion County and Ocala from that vantage point. I was shocked at how much green there was. Everybody's like, oh, what about the farms? What about we don't have that much actual city. And the roads, I'm looking down and there's like 1 car, 2 cars, and these are on busy roads. And I'm going, what are people talking about? If you look from up here, this is like, y'all are ridiculous.
And that's such a great analogy. And sometimes we have to pull back, and so I've got some more stats I'll share related to that. You've opened the door.
Love the stats.
So we talk about farmland, and it's very important to us that we maintain our farmland. It's hard to be horse capital of the world if you don't have farms.
We gotta keep the farms.
And so our farmland preservation area is just at 200,000 acres. It is huge. And if we look at where all the permits have happened in the last few years, you'll see they've all occurred within our urban growth boundary. So that's really right around the city of Ocala and our urbanized areas of Marion Oaks and Silver Spring Shores.
Yep.
When you look at Ocala, again, pull back between the farmland preservation area, the Ocala National Forest, the Shady Road area, you take all those areas that are no build or low build. So areas where we as a community said, hey, we're going to protect and we're going to maintain these. That's almost 2/3 of our county.
It's a really big county though.
And it's big, but that's huge areas that we put aside. But that means all the growth is going to happen in the remaining 38%.
Right.
And so as we think about that, sometimes people think, oh, there's so many people moving here. Our population density is 225 people per square mile. give you some point of reference. Lexington, Kentucky, another horse place as we've talked about.
Yeah.
They're 1,100 people per square mile. Orlando is 1,600 people per square mile.
Oh, good grief.
So think about it. We could triple in size and still not be as dense as Orlando. And so it's one of those when we begin to pull out, okay, so if we're going to have all these great areas that we say, hey, we want to maintain the springs and the farms and these, it means our growth is going to be a little bit more centralized.
Right. I think, looking at, all of this together, we have the jobs coming in because that was really, back in the day, that's what we really needed. We really didn't have jobs that were paying competitive wages at all. It was, if you move to Ocala, that's great, but you're going to have to get used to having less. And that's not really the case anymore. Then it was, there's not enough houses. Okay, got that covered.
Yeah, we still don't have enough houses.
Well, that's a whole nationwide problem.
It's tackling, there's more houses and more apartments and townhomes.
Oh my goodness, it's under construction. So, if they can get the parts and pieces and put it together like Legos, it'd be much better. But they're working on it. We're getting there. So they got that tackled. The roads are under construction. They have a plan for all of that. But what's really amazing is actually seeing the beautification of Ocala. If you look at downtown and you look at it 15, 20 years ago, like when I first moved here 20 years ago, there was tumbleweeds going. There were no businesses. There was definitely no restaurants. It was just, it really looked run down, and it's no longer the case. It's thriving.
It's beautiful. We love downtown Ocala. My wife and I, we live in the historic district. So just off from downtown. My office where we're filmed from today is downtown. We rarely leave downtown, which is handy.
You need to get out more.
Yeah, but it's so great. There are, I think there's more than 40 restaurants downtown now, and you have the Hilton Garden Inn, and you have all this new development. We've got several housing. You've got Lamplighter Legacy being built, and you have the Wauchula South townhomes, and there's One Fort King is under construction, and the new art apartments, and so you've got all this great things happening. And I tell people, it's changed so much in the last 3 years.
It has.
So much. It's nothing compared to what you're going to see in the next 3 years.
Really?
There's so many exciting things that are lining up to happen. More hotels.
I was like, please share.
So here's a great, more hotels, more housing, more restaurants, more stores. But and this one's public, so we can talk more about it. The tallest building downtown is the Sovereign Building. It was originally the Marion Hotel, built 100 years ago.
I love that building.
And back in the 70s, it was converted into offices and condoed. And so there were 17 different owners. Local developers, an attorney and his wife, David and Lisa Midget, who are experienced hotel redevelopers are literally around the globe, have now purchased all 17 of those condo units. They are finalizing the redevelopment plan. That'll be getting close. So probably in the spring, they will start work on the exterior and then the interior of the building. But converting that beautiful facility back into a 50-room boutique hotel with a fine dining in what is currently the ballroom. And,
oh my God.
Some cool things out front. So it's going to be a beautiful, probably about 36 months. It's going to take about 3 years.
Oh, yeah, that's a good building.
But absolutely a gorgeous facility that we'll be adding.
And it's in the hands of somebody that truly cares about Ocala.
And they've partnered, I just learned the other day, they've partnered with Hotel Development Group, which is a fabulous company headquartered here. They own 20, 25 hotels. They manage on top of that another 10, 12. Well-recognized operators. They're going to be the hotel operator for them on this.
Oh, wow.
So again, people who love our community, who care about it. In fact, their corporate offices are across the block from that building. So it makes it very handy.
That is awesome. I really, I think I went over there a couple of years ago and just did a real quick video, showing the coffee shop downstairs and everything. And I really had concern that we were going to lose the building because it, if you don't care for those older buildings, and it's constant care, they just crumble. And at a certain point, there's no coming back for them. And I was really worried it was getting to that point. So it's amazing. That is going to be huge for us to have such a beautiful building remain and actually get rehab. That's really cool. It's really exciting. So anything else going on? Because I've noticed downtown is kind of spreading. It really, and I've looked, downtown on, in the city of Ocala and stuff and what they're doing, but it seems to be, they're trying to link it.
Yeah,
it looks
so
like.
There's really three, think about a shopping mall. You had anchor stores, right? You had them on the ends and then you developed in between, and maybe you had something significant in the middle. And that's what we have. We have on the north end, you have the Riley Performing Arts Center. And the new Ocala Skate Park and all that on the north end in Tuscaloosa Park. And on the south end, you have the hospital district. So you have Advent Health Ocala and HCA Ocala there, two huge employers and all the things that happen. And then in the middle, you had the square. Right? Beautiful traditional square, very quaint, a lot of things happen in the square. But what's really happened is things have grown out from the square at the same time they're growing in from those other two anchors.
Right.
And then the more density you get, the more things, the more creativity and connectivity. So that really, especially once Lamplighter is finished, from the square out to the hospital district will really be filled in. And you can move back and forth pretty easily there. And you're starting to see some of that happen moving north. The Tuscaloosa redevelopment, the old firehouse that's being redeveloped by Infinite Ale Works. Very excited about that project, very cool. Now what we're talking about at the Sovereign, and there's some other things happening in the North Block, they're starting to come together. And so really, again, I think in 3 or 4 years, you're going to see this, downtown's really going to become pretty good size, but also really connected.
Have you heard anything about, because of course, this is the man that knows, okay, he knows. But have you heard anything about some kind of walkway over 40th? Because I think that's the only real bottleneck we have there.
There's a lot of discussion about how do we cross, and part of that is if you have a building here, but then you also have to have a building on the other side.
The other side.
Or how do you build something to come over top? And now, of course, and I understand this, regulations, you have to include elevators, you have to include things for ADA accessibility. So trying to figure that out. There's also some discussions about how do we, could we reroute 40 so it doesn't come through downtown. And there's actually, the truck route has already been rerouted. Trucks don't come through downtown unless they're heading here. So I think more and more of those pieces, and I think in particular, as the north side really starts to get some momentum in the next 12, 18 months, we'll see that come more up to the forefront.
I keep trying to figure out, are they going to go up or are they going to go under?
Yeah.
It's
so
like, something's got to happen.
The challenge with going under is there's a river that runs underneath downtown.
I did not know that. Really? Oh, yeah, that would be
creates a challenge.
Yeah, that would be a problem. That would be
they built downtown's built over top of.
Really?
There are places back over this way, certain grates and stuff you can look down and you can see
the actual river. I had no idea. I do know that when you go to a certain point in downtown Ocala, you get absolutely no radio reception, or like even your cell phone is like, no. Well, that's wise. It's probably fighting with the river. Because water does not, they don't, no.
Yes.
Yeah, doesn't work. That is awesome. That is something I did not know. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So those companies that are coming in, any of the names you could possibly share that we might not know yet?
No, but we're really excited between now and hopefully end of the year. We've got 4 or 5 smaller companies, but great projects, anywhere from 25 to 100 jobs that are coming into the community. Each time what we're seeing are the wages continue to move up. The median household income in the Ocala Metro grew 1/3 faster than the nation over the last 5 years. We continue to see this acceleration. We do, Andrea, I know you're aware, we do have a really big project.
Yes, that is exciting.
We are, fingers crossed, especially on those large projects, they're never done until they're done.
Right.
But we have a company that has a purchase agreement on 115 acres at the city's owned industrial park at the airport. They're undergoing due diligence now. That should wrap up around end of the year. If everything goes well, and again, market conditions and all those things, they're proposing to make a substantial investment in our community, somewhere between $250 and $500 million.
This is a huge facility.
The building would be, the range they've given, which I find is funny, their official range is 1.2 to 3.2 million square feet.
Yeah.
That's a big range. So let's take the middle. Let's say it comes in at about 2.1. That would be the largest building in the Ocala Metro, one of the largest in the state of Florida.
It's huge.
And anywhere from 1,000 to conservatively 1,500 jobs.
Yeah. After watching that go through from the city council meeting and everything, I have to admit I did try and take the clues that were dropped and hints and stuff and try and figure out who it was. Just because I just have to know. I just, but I did, the I think it was called the Angus Project.
Project Angus?
Project Angus, thank you. So, but it kind of led me to think that that wasn't really the land they were originally looking for. I was thinking maybe they were looking over at the Angus Farm, which is where the Buc-ee's is supposed to be coming in, possibly maybe.
Correct, yes.
So I was thinking maybe originally that project was over there and that's how it got its name, but I don't know. Yeah, see, I can never get anything out of him. Nothing. But that's okay. It's still fun to try.
Yes, and we're very excited. I haven't checked recently, so I'm going to go out on a limb, but I think it's happened. Buc-ee's was supposed to sign their contract on their property.
That's exciting.
So if you've not been to Buc-ee's, we were in one.
I haven't, and I was raised in Texas, so this is sad. I know. Well, they didn't have it at that point. It was well ago.
We were coming back from Kentucky this holiday weekend and stopped at the Buc-ee's at Warner Robins.
Oh wow!
And it's nuts. All 120 pumps were taken. People are waiting.
Really?
Inside there were.
There's no semis allowed.
No semis.
It's all cars. That's.
It was a little crazy on the inside, but it's amazing.
I've heard.
So the key for us on Buc-ee's is there's a new interchange to be built on I-75 at what we would call Northeast 49th Street. Mm-hmm. And so kind of waiting on, Northwest 49th Street. It's all funded, it's approved, it's designed. The state is scheduled to start work on it in mid-2024.
It sounds like it's so far away, but it's really not. Yeah, when you consider all of the stuff that goes into this, that's a pretty short time frame, actually.
So the county is working on building the connecting roads to that. In fact, they're out to bid right now. And so hopefully those get in. And there's some thought that maybe as those connection roads get built, that Buc-ee's might come in early. We'll see.
I don't know about that, but we'll see. I mean, I hope.
Yes.
I hope. My husband and I are going to a NARPM event, which is it's actually the convention, the National Association of Residential Property Managers. We're going next week, and we happen to be going to St. Augustine, and they have a Buc-ee's there.
Yes.
So I'm going to Buc-ee's for my first time next week.
You will be impressed.
Because I'm going to see what's coming, So I've heard it's amazing. So
the brisket's really good.
We'll have to get the brisket. I don't know. We've got some really amazing brisket makers here in Ocala.
Apparently the very best in the country.
Yes, we do. We absolutely do. It's Big Lee's Barbecue he's on all over the place.
So Big Lee's won, he's won 2 food show competitions on the Food Network, and now, he's building a spot. He's food trucks, but on North Pine, he's building a spot. Very cool concept. It's creating like a huge outdoor area. So like you're going to your friend's home and you're going to be in their backyard. Except it's a nationally acclaimed barbecue king and hanging out in his backyard, and so it's gonna be really cool. They just got all their permitting through.
Wow,
so
that's so exciting.
Hopefully by next summer we'll have
so happy for him.
That ready. Rashad is amazing.
He really is. If you ever get a chance to hear him speak, because he does motivational speaking, especially with teenagers and stuff like that, absolutely amazing speaker. Really just nationwide he travels to do public speaking. So not only is he a fantastic cook, but he's also like really
a great person.
He is. He just is. So I don't want to take up any more of your time. Is there anything else you want to share or can share with us?
I would just tell you this. If you're looking at making a move and you're like, well, I don't know, can I do this here? Can I do that? Know this. You can do it here. Ocala equals opportunity. So whatever you're doing, whatever your job, whatever you want to do, if you want to start a business, whatever it is, you can do it here. You can have an amazing quality of life. we're getting ready to come to my favorite season, which starts in about October and runs through about May, because it'll be beautiful here
So nice.
every day. And we'll be outside and we'll be enjoying while people are huddled up and freezing and cold and worrying about ice and snowstorms and all those things.
Yep.
We'll be continuing to have an amazing time. So know that. Come see Ocala. To see it is to appreciate it, to love it. And we moved here 10 years ago, and I don't want to be anywhere else, and I think you'll find the same thing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it greatly.
Always.
If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or otherwise, go ahead and hit us up with an email at GER.ExpectMore@gmail.com, or you can go ahead and click in the links in the description below. Thanks so much.
Shake it up, stop when the clock hits 13. Sing 1, 2, 3, 4. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it.